here's my first opponent, Namao Doi. Oops, with 2 tabs open. And I'm going to try and make this like as instructive as possible, but I'm also going to try and show no mercy. Like my opponent is clearly a new player, rated 548. And I'm going to follow basic principles. Like I probably won't be doing any like very deep, tricky opening preparation. We're just going to stick with basic principles, at least in the earlier games. This is one of the first openings I played as a chess player. I started playing at age 7. That's when I learned the rules. Played my first tournament at age 8, and the Italian was an opening I loved. And one of the benefits of the Italian is you can castle as early as move 4. That's basically the earliest you can castle in a chess game. And the benefit to castling early is if the center opens up and the opponent's king is still in the center, then it can lead to very good things. Now, in this position, I would really like to achieve d4, but black has 3 attackers. And when you're first starting chess, this is actually something to like be very aware of. Like if I play d4, I have 2 defenders, black has 3 attackers. So the way to prepare d4 is c3. And this is basically a delayed Ponziani. Like the Ponziani opening would have been c3 in this position. A little bit delayed, but yeah, the idea is to play d4. And because now I have 3 defenders, I'm not losing material. And now black is in a kind of predicament because, yeah, the bishop's attacked and I'm taking over the center. And this is usually the dream from early on. Like get 2 nice center pawns, also winning time because the bishop has to move again. And I'll develop. It's possible that like moves like d5 or e5 were playable, but I'm more focused on trying to develop the pieces. I will say my opponent's like playing not bad for rated less than 600. Bishop g4 is a good move, threatening to either take the knight and then win the pawn, or just take the pawn right away because my knight's pinned. So I might have to play defensively here. I don't want to play a move like d5 because that allows knight e5. Although maybe that's what I go for, and then bishop e2. I'm going to play a little bit more provocatively with bishop e3. This is what we call over defense, where the pawn was already like seemingly defended twice, but needs to be defended a 3rd time now that my knight's gone. And rather than taking with the queen, which would lose the pawn, I'm going to take with the pawn. I was not expecting to have like more high-level concepts with this first game. At first, this looks a little bit ugly or like self-destructive that I've castled and have double pawns, so my king is more exposed on the g-file. But the reason why I don't mind this, especially after black castles, is I have a very simple plan. King h1 with rook g1 to follow. And I can turn what looks to be a weakness into a very powerful strength. It would be funny if I was playing like another streamer who's also doing a speedrun. Like has this Hikaru's alt account. But probably not. So anyway, yeah, with king h1, the rook is going to find a very pleasant home. And generally, like leading into the middle game, you want to put your rooks on open files, which are files with no pawns, or half open files, which is a G file. It's a file with just 1 black pawn. And we see this move h6. This is a common, I think, beginner thing where once they complete the opening, sometimes players just don't know what to do, so they just move a random flank pawn. And yeah, h6 is probably more harmful to black than it is helpful, because now I'm threatening to take the pawn. But maybe black will play king h7 and get off the g file. So I'm not up any material yet, but from a positional standpoint, like, things are very nice. I have center control. Even though I have double pawns, they're not really weak, and the pieces are going to coordinate.
Thanks, as always.
Oh, thank you.
All the great content.
Singapore backgammon. Yeah, for anyone just joining, this is the first game I'm playing on stream on this new speedrun account. And the ratings aren't even displayed because the account is so new. But we can see this is my provisional rating, 690. Opponent's taking time here. I'm actually a little bit curious if my opponent is a viewer and knows I'm streaming. Or if they just like got paired randomly and has no idea. I imagine maybe there are some people who are trying to join the pool and get a game. So yeah, it's a difficult position for black. Honestly, I'd probably take time here as black as well. But sometimes when you're under pressure, like, the first thing to ask is, what is the threat? And if it's a strong threat, how do I stop it? So black should address that the G pawn is pinned. And I guess they didn't realize, so now it's time to indulge. Have a nice appetizer. I think it only gets worse from here. Because not only is this pawn pinned, but it's attacked twice. It's not so easy to defend. If the pawn moves, it hangs a rook. Also, there is a funny idea. If the pawn moves to g6, I don't even have to take the rook. I could take the pawn, because this pawn is also pinned by the bishop, so it can't take... it doesn't really defend g6 in any way. Yeah, is my opponent like trying to take the bishop and not sure why it's not going through? Gotta make a Reddit post. Some bug with chess.com. We haven't seen en passant yet. At this level, en passant is very easily forgotten. Or very easily overlooked as a rule. But yeah, I'm really showing no mercy here. And it's still a question, how do I transform the powerful attack into some kind of eventual checkmate? Like, if it's my move here, rook takes g7 seems like the obvious choice to take the pawn with check. But I think I'd be more inclined to take with the bishop, because that's going to lead to some very nasty discoveries. I could also take back the bishop, and black's still in the same boat. But yeah, I'm trying to show no mercy. So I'm going to take the bishop, or take the pawn first, leave the bishop hanging. And now it gets a little bit messy. Like, a lot of things are happening here. Like, both these pawns are hanging. But what's most important is the safety of the black king. And now I'm going to take the knight, checking the king, attacking the queen. Black has only 2 legal moves. Like, there's no other way to get out of check. I'm a little bit disappointed my opponent resigned, because there is a cool way to finish off the game. If king f8, I'll show it here. White has forced checkmate in 3 moves, as we see from the eval bar. I was not going to take the queen. I was going to sacrifice a rook, rook g8. This is a very common mating idea. And after king takes queen
Thanks for
g1.
3 months of comfort chess.
Thank you, Claglius. And now, yeah, wherever the king goes, queen g7 will be checkmate.